Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's a new year, and that means new opportunity for PA videos. I'm Marshall, and I'm back after a little bit of a hiatus. Apologies for those of you who might have thought that I might have disappeared, but I am not, and I am back, and better than ever. Here we are with a 1 versus 1 between and the South Pole, Mot9001 in green, long-standing member of the PA community. Going bots first on Forge. What we'll do is, there we go, keep his view down there, so you can see his builds as and when it appears. Up here though, we've got the legendary Noob in hot pink. Bots first, air second after a couple of P-gens there. Going down to Mot though, just so you can see the picture there. I will, for future 1v1s like this, be considering getting the double picture-in-picture mod. When I put that out to you before, it seemed to get a bit of a positive reaction, so I'll consider doing that. A couple of bot fabs coming out from Legendary Noob now though. Up for the mechs in his base. Going for the air factory thereafter. Mot, however, still not onto his second factory, using his comm to go up for the P-gens. So this is going to give Legendary Noob the scouting advantage early on, and possibly, if he can exploit it, a little bit of air fab, specifically because Mot now has not gone for air second, so he's not going to be able to contest that air fab. So if Legendary Noob comes out with the Firefly, sees no air factory here so far, he's going to say, maybe I can weasel my way into a little bit of cheeky expansion with a couple of air fabs. But that's for him to decide. As a Bumblebee now coming out looking around for a couple of fabricators that are less than adequately guarded. He's going to pick one up here, is he? Mot managing just to get it out of the way. Needs some spinners now though, and also the cover of Commander. That Bumblebee preventing the expansion there. The turret did get up though, so that's a little bit important. Turret did get up. Spinners coming out now as well for Mot. Legendary Noob now though, with the air superiority fighters coming out. And equally expanding to his 4 proximal metal there with single point defense. And moving into vehicles as well, having seen them now on the battlefield there. Can he come in for another pass on the fabs? No, he cannot. And the bomber is destroyed for being a little bit too audacious perhaps. Expanding on the other side now as well for Legendary Noob, but Mot managing to just get a little bit of a sneaky peek at this, so he sees that that's not necessarily going to be a way to raid with docks unless he goes around the super long distance route. This is a rather curious game so far actually. Wow, okay. T2 bots on Forge. I haven't really been in the game too much recently, but from what I remember, T2 vehicles is the way to go, unless you're doing locusts. And even locusts is going to be a little bit of a stretch, so maybe that's Mot's plan? Maybe slammers. More than likely slammers. Slammers. Ugh. Slammers. That. I would expect T2 vehicles from Legendary Noob. Being a bit more of a meta player. Vehicle fab coming out now, yeah. We'll probably see the T2 vehicle factory come out soon. Sooner rather than later. As it makes its way to the rally point, he sees that once he's finished microing everything else, and he'll be like, I have my fab already. Let's pop it up. Of course, this is Forge, and there's a lot of localized expansion metal to go around and grab. And so far, Mot is failing to do that. Staying very, very localized indeed, waiting to get up his T2 factory. He's going to have a little bit of an advantage there, but he needs to make sure that he exploits it. Legendary Noob now onto the T2 vehicles, so he's not going to be too far behind. Mot needs to get in there with his slammers or locust, and he needs to get his expansion in gear. He's struggling a little bit for power now too. It's a couple of fabs there going for power, but we can see just by zooming out though, massive, massive advantage that Legendary Noob has in terms of economy now, 110 to 75. An additional 2,000 power as well. We're struggling a little bit. He's been reclaiming his comm for a little bit of metal by the looks of things as well. Look around in the army tab there. Factories, relatively even. Fabbers though, Legendary Noob way out in front. because he can afford them, and unit counts kind of similar actually, and legendary noobs mostly in the air, so as long as Mot has a good anti-air ground presence, then he should be able to push in and actually do a little bit of damage here. He's got a lot of spinners, and there's only bumblebees to contest with, and he's got some ghillies. He's gone for sniper bots. Well, colour me surprised. That's not something you see every day, particularly on Forge. Why particularly on Forge? Because of all these vision blockers. The moment Mot realises he's up against T2 vehicles, which he probably does anyway, based on the fact that that tends to be the meta at the moment, nice super cannon there in defence, is that he's going to have a hard time microing these ghillies. He's setting himself up for a lot of work here to try and micro these ghillies so that he can pick off the levelers. Trouble is though, when you've got levelers versus ghillies, and maybe the odd slammer in there, you need a lot of ghillies to make sure that the levelers aren't hitting their shots off. Because of the fire rates and things like that, it's going to be a tough ask. Can Mot pull it off though? We saw though he didn't quite have the critical mass of spinners necessary, so he did lose a number of units there. But the slammers are now on the front lines. He does not have a combat fab on his front there, and he's losing ghillies to ants. Poor micro here from Mot as well. And a good use of a combat fab there, keeping those ants alive long after their card is drawn, their number dialed, their bed slept in. Etc. Lots of mines everywhere else though, so legendary noob aware of the possible flanks. Very good to see. But still just expanding unchecked. Look at this! Mot, get your expansion game in order, sir. I won't tell you again. A little bit though, but again, this raid is now it's ineffectual because it's not going to scratch legendary noob's economy, so Mot has to make this push really go the whole way and get the comp. You can see now how the levelers are just tanking those ghillie shots. This is why you need so many more ghillies, particularly because of the leveler production rate. Yeah, and here we go, running into the other micro issue for Mot. It's the whole line of sight issue. All legendary noob needs to do now is just keep cranking out the defensive levelers until he has enough, and keep his commander out of harm's way of these ghillies, because those ghillies are going to shoot that commander down so very fast. That is what they're looking for. They're looking for the comp snipe here, especially considering they're up against T2 vehicles there. Legendary noob coming in again, taking out slammers for free. Really nicely done here. Lovely pickup there. Unfortunate for Mot that there just weren't spinners there to support. Though he did lose a lot of bombers to those 3 spinners there, but I think they paid for themselves probably. Mot now realising, maybe I should expand, but his base tells a different story. The thing is, he's right on the doorway, the doorstep of legendary noob here. All he needs to do is take out that T2 factory. All he needs to do is just kill this commander. Well, that's the name of the game, but you get my point. You stem that flow of levelers. These ghillies have free reign with the slammers. That's the only reason he can't move in right now. It's just the levelers will one-shot this army. What's the commander doing out front? Is he looking for a cheeky Uber cannon? He's taking a lot of damage. And a 46. I think it's 3% per snipe. But here we go. You see the line of sight. And the problem is now the leveler's getting into range a little bit here, picking off a few targets. That is exactly not what Mot wants. He does not want those levelers to get their shots off. He needs to back up and I think reassess his approach vector here, because well, I guess there is quite a weakened commander sort of sat out in the middle of nowhere. So he's going to try again. He's got a good number of skitters here, which is good because they provide the vision range for the ghillies and the heads up for the micro that's necessary here, which is good. But again, Mot just needs to... He needs to raid, and I'm really surprised that Legendary Noob isn't expanding his factory capacity here. Here come the shellers. This is going to be a little bit of an issue. I sense a problem on the horizon. Because these shellers, that whole thing about line of sight that I was on about earlier, the shellers are just like, nah. I'll fire over the rocks. Gillies, I fire into. Here we go. First shot, raining down. Don't know quite where that was aimed for. Come on now, safe inside the base. Actually, if you look at these armies, one would say that Mot's army looks stronger here. The thing is, defenders' advantage with walls and slammers, not slammers, sorry, shellers, is going to be such a big thing. With Mot trying to push in here against these shellers. Very, very good move from Legendary Noob to transition to that. That's going to really bolster his defense massively. And that's exactly what he needs here. He's got a lot of bombers as well. And there's not a lot of AA around that comm. Aha! Mot moving out with the Blue Hawks now. It's like, oh, you're going shellers, I'll go Blue Hawks. I'm cool with that. The thing is, Mot's army now down to single figures, probably. Only just into double by all accounts. Just floating around 20, but the Locusts, a little late for Locusts, Mot. They would have been good earlier on when you had your advantage, but sir, it has been rescinded forthwith. And these Blue Hawks can do naught but retreat as the shellers push the line forward. And there's not enough Locusts to make a dent into this army. I think Mot was trying a new strat. A new little bit of cheese. And I don't think it paid off for him. Well, I'm not entirely sure you could call it cheese just yet. Just inventive, novel strats. I mean, this whole thing with the Locust right now is great. It's just a little late. It's great, but late! And the mines. Oof. That moment when Locusts failed to chew on explosives. Yeah, that's disappointing. These Blue Hawks need to micro a bit better and focus down those shellers. Problem is they're out in front where the docks are soaking. That's what the slammers want to be doing out the front there. But now you have the levelers. Oh, come on! Mot can defend against this. Just needs a couple of good shots on those shellers, but in come the bombers now for the little bit of aggression. We even have the T2 Fab now as well. The factory taking some damage. Mot needs to answer this. His factory goes down, that's all over. I'm not struggling with economy as much as it is. Oh dear. Oh dear. He's lost his units. That's it. There be no hope left now. I'm sorry, Mot. You had a good run, but ultimately, your G was next to the other G in the chat. Not how it turned out for you. Well, that was an interesting 1v1, I think, and a good one to come back to for the new year. Well, that was Mot versus Legendary Noob in a 1 vs 1 on Forge. I've been Marshall, folks. Don't forget to subscribe for more PA coming soon. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed it, the like button is down there somewhere as well. But for now though, that's all for me, and I'm going to go and work off some of this jet lag. So for now, folks, have a good one.